Hi everyone, welcome back to Pattern Making with KW Ross. Today I am going to demonstrate to you how to turn a skirt sloper, into a pattern. Alright, so first thing first, I need a straight line for my center front. So I need a straight line for my center front. Okay, I'm gonna follow this grid line that I have here. It's gonna be my center front. Okay, next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the front sloper. But that also I can mark my hip line. My hip line literally was at 8 inches below the line here, so I could mark my hip line, which is 8 inches. I'm gonna leave a little space up top. Okay, I'm leaving a little space up top, so this should be about my hip line. Okay, yes, that's about your hip line, so I'm good right there. So I'm going to square that across. Okay, because it's easier when you do it this way to just lay the sloper over it. Now I have this is my center front line and hip line matching up. There you go with the notch. Place my weights on top to hold down my sloper, and I'm just going to simply trace around the edges. Okay, so trace around the edges or the outline of your sloper. All right, and this is what we call transferring your sloper to your pattern. And right here at my dart, the tip of my dart, I'm going to use my awl and create a mark there. If it doesn't show through on the other side, you use your pencil and it should go through. Okay, so this is what I have for this the front. You still have to, well, this was my my dart. You still have to label your center front, place it on the fold, indicate that. Okay, you're placing it on the fold, and here also. So this is your center front, place on fold. This is your side seam. Now I'm going to say something to you, because when we made the pattern, we did form out the dart properly, so when you're sewing you want to lose any fabric on the seam allowance. Okay, so that's very important. That's the reason why we had formed that out. So this is going to straight line 1/2 inch here. Okay, follow the line. Okay, and this also 1/2 inch. Now what some people do, they go in a little bit, like say literally 3/8 of an inch from the hip line at the hem, because basically we're not just straight like that. You go in by your knee. It's the distance, the circumference there is smaller than the hip line circumference. So I went in 3/8 of an inch. You can go in up to an inch, depending on your comfort. If you have a slit though, then you have to take that into consideration. Now my hem allowance is usually 1.5 inches. Okay, it's up to you. If you want to use 5/8 seam allowance for your side seam, it is up to you. Go ahead and do that. Okay, go ahead and do that. Now what I would suggest, so you have your dart there, so you have to, when you cut this out again, you have to use your notcher, and you have to create your notch. All right, I just want to illustrate that to you, that you have to create place your notch there. All right, this is always a straight line there, so you use your notcher and you do this. Okay, now for the hem, this is what I usually do for the hem. I fold back along my desired length of my skirt like this, and then I use a tracing wheel and I trace. But not only that, I can literally get my tracing paper. All right, this is my tracing paper, and I can do this, so it's easier for when for me to see the line on the other side. All right, see the red mark now came through, so that's what you do. Okay, then what I usually do sometime is just simply cut like this from now to form the shape here. And obviously this is the extra piece you don't need, so you cut this off. Okay, or you can cut it off when you are cutting the fabric. It's your choice. So 1.5 inches hem allowance there. You can fold this back right here at the center front. Fold it back, so when you fold it, when you're placing it on the fold of the fabric, you can see the fold of the fabric right by the edge. Okay, so all of this is very important, just like that. Your notch here, you continue out with your notch. All right, I use this ruler, which is very terrific for this, because I'm lining up here to make sure it's straight. I go out there, this is your notch. When you cut this, you make sure you notch it with your notcher. You also do the same for here, for the side seam, for the hip line, and the side seam also. So this is the front. Now for the back, right, when you have the paper, once again, you are going to draw a line down the center back. All right, and make sure it's going to fit on this, so I have an idea where to put my line. Yes, this seems fine. Okay, and my hip line, I can go somewhere in that vicinity. So my center back, I'm using this wonderful ruler that has the grid lines, and I'm going down. I need to extend this a little bit because I don't know where my sloper piece is going to end. So I can literally mark 3/8 to 1 inch on the back. Okay, 3/8 to 1 inch on the back, the center back. I'm going to line this up. Okay, right along here. Put my weights here to hold it down. Mark around my sloper. Because remember, now we did transfer it to the oak tag. You have to transfer it to the oak tag. You won't be able to trace like this because this paper that pattern paper is too soft. We need something a little bit harder. Okay, just let you know that one. All right, so we have that. Don't forget, before you lift it up, you need your dart, the tip of your dart, that mark. You lift it up, make sure it comes through underneath. Also your hip line, you will need that, so you can mark it from here, and then when you lift up the sloper, you can continue or retrace that line, I should say. So I'm going to retrace it. All right, complete that line. So this is your hip line. Once again, 1/2 1/2 inch seam allowance on the side, except if you want to do 3/4 to an inch. It is up to you, but I feel that when you do 1/2 inch to even 5/8 of an inch, it's less puckering or less material to deal with along the hip level. Oops, I did something wrong. See what happened here? That's why you have to be careful with adding the seam allowance there. So that little part is missing, so I'm gonna just tape it. So listen, no one's perfect, and I'm keeping this video to show little imperfections that you may encounter and what you just have to do. So there it is. Oops, there it is. Chakalaka, chakalaka. All right, and I would advise you to tape on the other side also, just like that. It doesn't matter. Okay. Continue with what you were doing with adding your seam allowance, your 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and for the back now you can mark 7 inches down for the zipper. Okay, so this is your zipper, and because it's the back, you can give 2 notches there. Okay, the 1/2 inch apart is good enough. You can come down maybe another 6 inches down. You can give another notch and another 1/2 inch down. Now on this, you have a choice. On the center back, you can go in a little bit because obviously coming from your waist, there's a curvation for your buttocks. So you can go in a little bit, like 1/2 an inch here on the center back, and connect it to your hip line. So if you do that, then I would suggest that you use this ruler, the hip curve, and you connect that to your hip line there, like that. Okay, that's what I would suggest that you do. Then you reshape this with the 3/4 of an inch, because that's what I used initially. All right, so I'm going to use a different color just to show you. So this is 3/4 of an inch to show you that I went in there, and the hemline is 1.5 inches. So your hemline is 1.5 inches. What you'll do, as usual, fold under your hemline, fold under, trace it with the tracing paper so you can see it on the other end. All right, trace it. Okay, and now that you have it, there it is right here. You follow those lines. That's your new line, and this is your new line. Okay, you cut along here. All right, and you cut around. So we know this is the center back, and we have to indicate that this is our center back. With our grain line, we're not using the line that we went in, we're using the straight line. Okay, this is our grain line, ×2 on fabric. I will show you another video to do the lining. Right now we're concentrating on just the skirt pattern without, not a line skirt. So you just form out your dart from the tip, form out your dart, and make sure you notch here when you cut it, so you can cut around the edge. And remember what we did, our waist measurement. Okay, you just cut around like this, cut this part, cut here all the way down, or you can wait until when you lay it out and actually cut in the fabric, then you can make your cut then and there. All right, you can locate that notch that you have there. You notch here also like this, the center back. You notch at the dart, the top of the dart, and you can also notch here, but it's not necessary. Notch here, 2 notches here, 2 notches here also. Okay, so you know this is your line, not this one, because we went in a little bit. Now for the waistband, all you're going to do is get a separate piece of paper for your waistband. Remember from previous, our waist was 27.5 with 27.5 with 1/2 inch ease. So this is a straight part of the paper, the straight edge, so I can create a line here, square this, come, all right. So this is a 1/2 inch seam allowance for the belt or for the waistband, and my waistband is usually 1 1/4 inches wide. So 1 1/4 times 2, that's 2.5. Okay, 2.5. So I'm gonna mark my 2.5 line here. Okay. My 2.5 line. And my seam allowance is 1/2 inch seam allowance from here. My waist, as I said, was 28 with the 1/2 inch ease divided by 2 is 14. So I need 1/2 inch one end plus 1.5 inches, so that's 2 inches. So literally I can give anywhere between 2 to 2.5 inch extra. So because it's divided by 2, I can add 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So I need from 15.5 inches should be good. So I'm going to mark off 15.5 inches. Okay. 15 to 15.5. So I'm going to do 15 first, and then for the seam allowance, you add your 1/2 inch. Okay, and that's for the waistband. And this is your waistband, so you need this unfold, because this is going to be the center front unfold. Okay, again, you have to indicate this. All right. And that would be the center front, and this is times 1 fabric, and also times 1 fusing or fusible, whatever you call it, or whatever you want to use to create body. And you just cut around here, and that's it. You can, it's optional, you can notch, measure your waist measurement of the front and notch it from the center front, because this will be the center front if you have in a back center back seam, and that's it. So these are the 3 pattern pieces. You have the back times 2 fabric, this is times 1 unfold, times 1 on fabric unfold, all right, and this one is times 2 fabric. Now laying out, once again, you have your pattern here, and say you straighten out your fabric, you place this on the fold line here, you have this back piece. Okay, place on the fold line, you have this back piece, you have it, the self edges right here. You use you make sure you measure equidistance from your self edge to your grain line, and you do the same thing all above like here, measure the same distance from the selvage to the grain line. You put your weight on there, you cut out. This is obviously going to be on the fold, so you can either put it at the bottom of this skirt here, or just cut away from here and put it on here and just cut around, put a weight on there and cut it. And once you cut it out, don't forget to mark out your tip of your darts, front and back. Sew your darts, then sew the side seam, sew the center back, add your zipper, check for any alteration that you may need or adjustments, add your waistband, attach right here with a buttonhole and a button or a hook and eye. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please go ahead and hit this subscribe button, like, and share with your friends. And I will see you on my next video. Thank you.